Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Here is Dr. Misbah Shad from University of Education, Township, Lahore campus. Students, today we will discuss the next parameter of pharmacokinetics phase, which is distribution. The key concept underlining this topic, distribution, are what is distribution of drugs, what is modes of distribution, and factors affecting distribution, what is role of prodrugs, what is therapeutic range or concentration of a drug, and what's blood-brain barrier or triple B. First is the distribution of drug, and distribution of drug is the transport of drug from its initial point of administration or absorption to its site of action. It means that drug which is absorbed in the bloodstream from the gastrointestinal tract, or drug which may also be administered in the form of injection, that this drug, how it will go towards its site of action in order to impart or show its pharmaceutical effect, because which is the main target of drug, that it must be go towards its receptor or the point of action or site of action, for which the drug has been synthesized or formulated, and then is administered in the body, uh, which may be feeling certain type of ailment. The main route for the distribution of drug is through the circulation of the blood, or it means that blood stream or blood is responsible for the distribution of the drug throughout the body. But it has been shown by certain investigations and experimentation that along with the blood, another system is also responsible for the distribution of the drug, and this system is lymphatic system. And here you can see that due to the cardiac output, due to the effect of you can see heart pump, the blood is pumped to the different organs of the body. Therefore, uh, brain receive 15%, skin 5%, heart itself, muscles 20%, kidneys, liver, and so on. Other organs also receive this, you can say, the percentages of the certain drugs. Next is the modes of distribution. Drugs are transported in the bloodstream as either a solution of the drug molecule, or they may be transported to certain region as in a bound form, and these drug molecule will be bounded to the serum proteins. It means that the proteins which are present in the blood are responsible for the binding of these drug molecules. And among these protein molecules, usually albumin is responsible for the binding of drug molecules, and therefore the binding of a drug to the serum proteins, and these serum proteins mostly they are albumins. They can also be globulins, fibrinogen, regulatory proteins, and these all are responsible for the binding of drugs. And these binding of the drugs with these protein is usually reversible. It means that at a certain condition and at a certain stage of pharmacokinetic space, these drug molecule must be released from these proteins. And once the drug is absorbed, it is rapidly distributed throughout all the areas of the body, uh, which is reached by the blood. It means that after the absorption, blood is responsible for the distribution of the drug throughout all the areas of the body. And this means that the chemical and the physical properties of the blood will have the considerable effects on the concentration of drug which is going to towards its target, or the drug which is going to travel towards its target. It means that it's not only the drug and the protein binding factor, but the chemical and the physical properties of the blood is also responsible for the you can say distribution of reasonable amount of the drug molecule. It means that chemical and physical parameters of the blood itself controls this distribution of drug molecules. Here you can see the albumin, which is shown as the big circle, and the small circle are represented here for the you can say drugs, a drug molecule. And these drug molecules are binded with the albumin. Here is shown the reversible sign that yes, this bound drug can be also be released from the albumin as the free drug at a certain stage. And when it's present in the blood vessel or the bloodstream, then some of the drug molecule may also be present with the albumin, or some of them can be released. And therefore, the retention of bread protein or the protein bound drug within the vasculature means the blood vessels, is also retained. It means that the some drug molecules are present as a free, and some are present as the bound form. But uh, after a certain time, this drug molecule must be released from the proteins, because these proteins and mostly albumins, they are responsible for the transport. They provide the transport system for the traveling of the drugs molecule throughout the vascular system or the bloodstream. And these bindings are by the electrostatic interactions. And these electrostatic interaction, they must be between the polar and the non-polar ends. They can be in the form of hydrogen bondings, dipole-dipole interactions, and other type of the weak forces like van der Waals forces as well. And these all type of the secondary forces of attractions are responsible for the binding of the drug molecules with the proteins. And these proteins are mostly the albumin molecules. And the binding of the drug to the serum protein is usually a reversible one. It means that there are only a few cases when this binding is very strong one, that the drug molecules are unable to release from the proteins. And the drug molecules bound to the serum proteins have no pharmacological effects until they are released from these proteins. It means that these protein must make the drug molecules free, in order that these drug molecules, they have the liberty to bind towards their receptor. It means that the main or the primary function of the drug is to make its binding with the receptor or the disease portion, or to show its pharmacological effect, and therefore these drug molecules should be released from the protein uh, which are present in the bloodstream. Consequently, this equilibrium can be an important factor in controlling a drug's pharmacological effect. However, it is possible for one drug to displace another from a protein. It means that uh, some displacement mechanism is also there if there is some other drug molecule is also present. It means that you are going towards the co-administration. It means that like I have taken the brufen, along with it I have also taken like the augmentin. It means that in the bloodstream augmentin molecules are there, and also like coamoxiclav, and also like uh, brufen in the form of florbibrufen, ibuprofen also there. It means that when there is co-administration, then certain drug molecule can displace the other drug from the bound protein form, and therefore it is possible for one drug to displace another from the protein if it forms a more stable complex. It means that there must be some competition between these drugs molecule towards the protein, and that has definitely a strong affinity for that protein. It means that the drug molecule which has greater affinity, it will definitely remain bound with the protein. Otherwise, it will be displaced by the other drug molecule which has more affinity for the same protein. This aspect of protein binding can also be can also be of considerable importance, because when we are going towards designing the drug regimens involving more than one drug, it means that when doctor is saying that you have to take more than one drug, then this aspect of binding, it must be in the mind, that which drug molecule will bind more strongly, or more firmly, for how much time, and which drug molecule will be released earlier. For instance, the displacement of anti-diabetic agent by aspirin can trigger hypoglycemic shock. It means that if along with the anti-diabetic or the certain drug which is used or which is administered in case of diabetes mellitus, then if diabetes mellitus patient is also taking the aspirin, then this aspirin can definitely result in the hypoglycemic shock. It means that the blood glucose level will be certainly low down, and so the aspirin shouldn't be used by the patient taking these drugs. These drugs mean anti-diabetic drugs, because the aspirin will definitely displace the anti-diabetic agents from the bound proteins. And protein binding also allows drugs with poor water solubility to reach their targets. It means that protein binding definitely helps these drugs which has poor water solubility, because in blood large concentration, or the large amount of, or the percentages of the water molecules is also present, and drug protein complex acts as a depot, maintaining the drug in sufficient concentration at the target site to bring about a response, or to bring about a action. It means that this drug protein complex is responsible for the transport of the drug in a high concentration, or in a sufficient concentration. In this way, this drug protein complex is responsible for carrying sufficient concentration of the drug towards its target in order to impart a response, or to show the pharmacological action. Like this action may be anti-diabetic, anti-cancer, anti-malarial, antibiotic, and like certain type of in order to cure inflammation, certain type of pharmacological action must be there. However, a low plasma protein concentration can also affect the distribution of drugs. It means that if there is low protein concentration present in the blood, then it definitely disturb the overall distribution of the drug, such as the rheumatoid arthritis, as the reduced transport system is unable to deliver a sufficient concentration of the drug to its target, because in this arthritis the transport reduced there is reduced transport system, therefore due to which the drug is unable to reach its target at in the sufficient or in the significant amount. And protein binding can also increase the duration of the action if the drug protein complex is too large to be excreted through the kidney by the glomerular filtration. It means that if the this drug protein complex is not going to be break down earlier, it means that the drug will be sustained or remained in the body for the longer time. When it will be retained in the body and it will not be lost through the excretion process, then its duration of action will be definitely increase. It means that for the it definitely increases the its duration of action. Number next is intravenous injections, IV bolus. The administration of the drug by rapid intravenous injections places the drug in the circulatory system where it is distributed to all accessible body compartments and the tissues. It means that by intravenous injection, it's a rapid technique because it will put the large concentration of the drug in the body and in such a way that it's more accessible, or it means that high concentration is present at the time. And compartments mean certain region means certain tissues, and the one compartment model of a drug distribution is assumed in case of intravenous injection, that the administration and the distribution of the drug in the plasma and associated tissues are instantaneous. It means that it will take very less time uh, uh, to reach its target. It means that in order to reach its target and to impart its pharmacological effect, the drug will take very less time. Therefore, this one compartment model of drug distribution has been introduced. But it has been shown that practically it's not happening, and and is one of the possible source of the error when using this model to analyze experimental pharmacokinetic data, because pharmacokinetic data in fact which is experimentally collected, like the work or the experimentation which is going on small animals like rabbits, guinea pigs, or the rats, and then is the you can say clinical trial or on the human beings. Then this is shown that this one compartment model which is responsible for the instantaneous availability of the drug, it doesn't hold 100%ly, and it's not happening practically. What's shown over here that for intravenous dosage and for the oral dosage, like which is injected through or which is taken through the injection and which is taken by the mouth. And the one compartment model which is shown as the P1, and P1 is definitely plasma, and plasma is definitely responsible for holding the central compartment in all the models. And here is the, like, for two compartments, it's one compartment is P1 and other compartment is shown or indicated here as the 2. And what type of equilibriums are there? Like if we consider the one compartment model, then the from like compartment 1, which is plasma, then it will go towards the elimination, and the rate constant which is holding over here is responsible for the elimination. It's KEL. But for the two compartments, for the drug, there is availability of the two compartments, like PA1 is for plasma and 2 is for any, you can say, other compartment, which may be any other tissue. And it means that the drug can be go towards any other tissue, and therefore two types of constant are present over here. And K1 2 is the rate constant for the transfer of the drug from P1 to 2, or the second compartment, and K21 is its reversal. It means that if it will go from P1 to 2, then it will go back from 2 to P1. And also the elimination KEL is also there. And for oral dosage, like the one compartment model is same as that, and for oral dosage is one more, you can say, uh, parameter is also written over here, and it's the absorption. It means that orally the drug has to travel more. It goes towards the gastrointestinal tract, from where it has to be absorbed, then it comes into the systemic system or the blood circulation system. It means that yes, there are no, beyond the one compartment, like two compartments are also there for the distribution of the drug. It means that when uh, more compartments are available, then what will happen? Definitely, the drug percentages will be reduced, or the drug available concentration will be less, because it's going towards not the one compartment, it's some other compartments are also available. Like it can, once in a circulatory system, the concentration of drug definitely begins to decline, and this declining is due to the elimination process as well. And it's normally reported by plotting a graph of plasma concentration of the drug against the time. Like here is the graph. The plot is the plotation of the concentration, plasma concentration, which is Cp, against the time. And C naught as the plasma concentration of the drug at time t is equal to 0. And Cp is definitely the plasma concentration of drug at any time. And T is the, like, if this equation is uh, taken into concentration, then the rate of elimination is KEL, the rate constant which is responsible for the elimination, and Cpa is the plasma concentration at any time. And if it's written as Cp is equal to C naught E minus KEL T, and when this graph is plotted between time and ln Cp, then straight line is obtained, and extrapolation gives the log 10 C naught. And T here is the lapse time between the administration and the measurement, and KL is the rate constant for the irreversible elimination of the drug. And LNCP is log 2 base E against changes in plasma concentration of a drug with the time. It means that definitely as the time passes, the plasma concentration will be decreased. It means that at the time of administration, the concentration is high, or at the start the concentration is high, and you can say due to the lapses or due to the traveling or the distribution of the drug in other compartments, the concentration will going to be decreased. It means that if you will take 200 milligram drug, then it's not the 200 milligram which is actually reaching towards its target. It means that there are certain lapses, and these lapses may be in terms of elimination from the body, or these lapses may also be there, the drug will going towards the other. Next is factor affecting distribution of drugs, and important factors are solubility of drug, stability of drug, pH of target tissue, lipophilicity of the drugs, affinity of drug for proteins, and affinity of drug for proteins, and concentration of plasma protein. And next is size of drug protein complex. Solubility of drugs, it means that if drugs water solubility is high, then it can be fairly distributed in the solution form. It means that drug will go in the solution form towards its target, and sprangly water soluble compounds may be deposited in the blood vessel because the blood vessels are less polar or the lipophilic in nature. Therefore, the less water soluble drugs will be going to deposit along the blood vessels. Therefore, they also lead towards the restriction in the blood flow. Here, representation of the whole blood, and this whole blood is definitely consists of acellular part and the cellular. And cellular is 55% in, as acellular is 55, and this is 45% cellular one. And therefore the acellular part consists of proteins and some other plasma, you can say substances, and water in very high percentage, it's 91%. Therefore this high percentage of water is responsible for the distribution of so much drug molecules in the body. Therefore this representation is given over here in order to show that the water percentage in the blood is very high, and therefore it's responsible for the fairly significantly large amount of the, you can say, drug molecule to be distributed throughout the body. Then is the stability of the drugs, and drug stability is of particularly more important in that the serum proteins can act as enzymes that catalyze the breakdown of the drug. It means that the drug molecules are break down by the are or broken down by the enzymes which are already present in the blood, and therefore drug stability is very crucial, because if drug is going to be decomposed, it means that the molecule which was responsible to impart its pharmaceutical action, it will not be available, because it will be already broken by the serum proteins to show its action. And the decomposition such as these can result in the higher dose of the drug being needed in order to achieve the desired pharmacological effect, because there must be some, you can say, desired, uh, in order to give the desired response, there must be some optimum concentration of the drug which should be maintained in the body, which should be retained in the, you can say, plasma. And this increased dose increases the risk of toxicity of the drug in the patient. Like here is shown the plasma concentration and the time, that along with the time the plasma concentration is going to be decreased. And there is a time at which there is a peak effect of this concentration. And if it means that it's the higher concentration of the drug which is responsible the for the pharmaceutical action. And this is the duration of action. It means that this is the time or the duration for the action of the drug. And if the drug concentration is beyond then the peak of the peak effect, then the drug will definitely result in the side effects, and it will show the adverse response. And in order to show the therapeutic effect, the drug must be in certain range, and this is called the therapeutic window. It means that drug concentration in unionized form or unbreakable form must be retained in the blood, and therefore the desired response will be imparted. It means that the drug should be stable one, and it shouldn't be break down by the serum proteins, because these serum proteins act as an enzyme and therefore they catalyze the breakdown of the drug molecules. However, the active form of some drug is produced by the decomposition of the administrative form of the drug. It means that first the drug is not the active one, and after administration there is some breakdown as of the bonds which result in the production of the active form of the drug. And drugs that function in this manner are called as prodrugs. And the first terminology or the first terminology which was used for the drug, it was the Prontosil, and it was the antibacterial in 1935. This drug was used, and Prontosil itself is not the active one. But when it was metabolized in situ in vivo, then it showed the antibacterial action, and this antibacterial action was due to the sulfanilamide. And this discovery of Prontosil paved the way to the development of wide range of the antibacterial sulfonamides, and these were the only effective antibiotics which were available until the general introduction of penicillin in the late 1940s. It means that these sulfonilamides or sulfonamides were the only drugs which were used for the antibacterial action or to kill the bacteria before the introduction of the penicillin. And these Prontosil drugs were definitely they were the prodrugs, and firstly they were not the active one, but after the metabolism or after you can say the decomposition in the in vivo, they were changed into the active ingredients. Here is the Prontosil molecule. It break down from here. Therefore, this sulfonamide means sulfonyl and amide amino group, and was released as the sulfanilamide, and this triamino functionality released as such as the byproduct. And second is the amphetamine example, and here is its inactive or the prodrug form. After administration, it will be changed into the L-lysine, and this breakdown will be from here, and definitely this breakdown will be through the water molecule by the hydrolysis of this bond. Therefore, it will change into hydroxyl, and this will change into the amino group. And therefore, this is the active drug. And this D-amphetamine is a central nervous stimulant, and its use result in an increase in certain type of brain activity, and it's also a prodrug. Next is the pH of the target tissues. It means that what's the pH of the tissue at which the drug has reached. Generally, the pH of the tissue is 7 towards the neutrality, which forming the blood vessels is less basic than that of plasma, because plasma pH is 4, 7.4. It means it's zero point 0.4 times zero point 0.4, uh, 0.4 plus, then yeah, you can say it's more basic one than the you can say uh, the pH of tissue is less, but than the pH of the plasma. And therefore, the acidic drugs such as the aspirin, which ionize in the aqueous solution, exist largely in the form of their anion in the slightly basic plasma, because the acidic drug, when they will reach in the you can say the basic condition, they will definitely ionized. And since uncharged molecules are transferred more rapidly than the charged one, and these acidic anions tend to remain in the plasma and not moved out of the plasma into the tissue, and which is surrounding the blood vessels. It means that the pH is important, because the pH of the tissue and the pH of the plasma is changed, and tissue go towards the neutrality and the plasma has some basic pH. Therefore, it definitely affect the acidic and the basic nature of the drugs, that which some drugs will be ionized and other will be remained unionized. Like acidic drugs, here is the plasma having pH 7.4. Acidic drug will be ionized and non-ionized form, but they will exist largely as ionized form, H positive and A negative form. And for the basic drugs, they will be exist mainly as free form, like B, lone pair of electron, and very small concentration is present as the BH positive. But for the transfer of the drug from the plasma towards the tissue, they must be the neutral one. It means that the acidic drug will be transferred as uncharged HA, and basic drugs will be transferred as uncharged B with the lone pair of electrons. And in the tissue, how they will be present, the acidic drugs will be present as HA, and for the basic drugs, they will be present as BH plus. It means that they will be present as after gaining the protons, and therefore the behavior of acidic and basic drugs will be changed depending on the pH of the plasma and the tissue. Consequently, acids have tendency to stay in the plasma rather than to pass into the surrounding tissue. And conversely, a significant quantity of the basic drug tends to exist as the neutral molecule in the plasma. And as a result, bases are more likely to pass into the tissue which is surrounding the plasma. And furthermore, once the base has passed into the tissue, the charged form of the base is likely to predominate, and so the drug will tend to remain in the tissue. This means that the base is effectively removed from the plasma and which disturb its equilibrium in the plasma to favor the formation of the free base and which result in the further absorption of the base into the tissue. As a result, basic drugs, unlike the acidic drugs, are likely to be more widely distributed into the tissues. It means that basic drugs are more widely distributed in the tissue, but the acidic drugs are less likely to be distributed into the tissues. And next is the lipophilicity of the drug. A drug lipophilicity will also influence its distribution. It means that what type of the behavior drug has, what's the polarity ratio, how much polar groups are present, how much less polar groups or like the hydrocarbons functionality is present. And the hydrolipophilic drugs can readily enter and accumulate in the fatty deposits of the humans because these hydrolipophilic drugs are less polar, therefore they will deposit towards the less polar entities and therefore they will go towards the fat deposits of the human, and it is slowly released from these deposits in the concentration that are too low to cause a pharmacological response. It means that there is definitely a drawback over here that the hyalolipophilic drug, they accumulate in the fats deposits of the human and therefore they will be released from these deposits very slowly, and low concentration will be released, and if the low concentration, uh, it will not be in the therapeutic range or the therapeutic window to impart the pharmacological response or the effect. For example, the concentration of the ultra short acting anesthetic agent, which is the thiopentol, and it rapidly falls after the administration to an ineffective level because it accumulate in the fatty tissue deposits in the body. Therefore, its effect will be less, and its, you can say, pharmacological uh, impact will be fall down, and it's slowly released from these deposits in the concentration that are too low to cause a pharmacological response, which is the anesthetic one, or to cause the sleeping mode of the overall human being. And lipid solubility is how it's determined. The lipid soluble drugs with favorable partition coefficient, which is log P. If log P is greater than zero, then they are usually absorbed after the oral administration, and drugs which are very lipid soluble, like their log P is greater, partition coefficient is greater than 3, they tend to be well absorbed but are also more likely to be susceptible towards the metabolism, and then the biliary clearance means their metabolism will be start in the liver. And although there is no general rule that can be applied across all drug molecule within the homologous series, drug absorption usually increases as the lipophilicity is rises. Next is the affinity of a drug for the protein. It is possible for one drug to displace another from a protein if it forms a more stable complex. It means that it has more affinity for the protein than the first drug was, that it has stronger affinity, then therefore it will definitely displace the first drug. And this aspect of protein binding can be of considerable importance when designing drug regimens involving more than one drug co-administration in the body. Therefore, the affinity of a drug for certain protein, it vary from one drug to another drug. And this affinity of drug for the protein is responsible for the distribution of the drug in the body. It means that affinity of the certain drug for a proteins like albumins, it also determine how drug is significantly distributed into the body. Then is the concentration of plasma protein. Low plasma protein concentration can also affect the distribution of drug. It means that if plasma proteins are less in numbers, then it will definitely affect the distribution of drugs. Again, it's the you can say the arthritis. It's the example that the reduced transport system is available, and this reduced transport system can be shown exemplify over here that these plasma proteins are responsible for binding you can say uh, drugs, and these drugs should be less in the free form, because in this way uh, this in the you can say they are present in the blood, but in the tissue for reaching the target protein, this equilibrium must be there, and therefore the drugs will be bound to the receptor in this way, or the target, and therefore this plasma proteins are definitely, this concentration must be like in the healthy individual, which are responsible for keeping the concentration of the drug in a such a way that it will reach towards its target. But definitely it will be released and then cross this barrier. Next is the size of the drug protein complex. Uh, it means that drug protein size is smaller or the bigger one. The protein binding can also increase the duration of action if the drug protein complex is too large to be excreted through the kidney by the glomerulus filtration. It means that by the bloodstream and from the blood through the bloodstream it enters the glomerulus, and therefore the filtration will occur, and if this size of the drug protein complex is a larger one, then its duration of action will be increases, and definitely the this drug molecule will not pass through the kidney, or you can say it will not be released from the body. Next is changing the number of the methylene group in the chain and the ring. This is the modification you can make in the certain drug molecule in order to make it more efficient, in terms that in order to increase the or affect the lipophilicity, and therefore the increasing the number of methylene group in the chain or the ring, it increases definitely is the size of the chain or the size of the ring, and therefore by increasing the methylene group, the lipophilicity of the compound, or the you can say the nature towards the less polar will be rises, or the non-polar will be rises, and it's believed that any increase in the activity with increase in the number of methylene group is probably due to the increase in the lipid solubility of the analog, and which gives a better membrane penetration, because if uh, these drugs molecule are able to penetrate the membranes or the lipoprotein containing membranes, then yes, they will be available towards their targets. And conversely, a decrease in activity with an increase in the number of methylene group is attributed towards the reduction in the water solubility of the analog. It means that if there is decrease in the activity with the increasing the number of the methylene group, it will be attributed to the reduction in water soluble, and this reduction in water solubility can result in the poor distribution of the analog in the ecosystem. It means that if there is reduction in water solubility, then um, there will be the poor distribution. But if in there is lipophilicity is high, then the membrane passing ability will be rises, and therefore the trapping of the analog in the biological membrane will be increases in case when the reduction in water solubility is resulted. Here is introducing a chain branching and different size ring and the substitution of the chains for rings, like may also have effect on the potency and the activity of the drug. It means that if some groups are replaced by the methylene group, then it may be rise that drug therapeutic action or pharmacological action can be changed, like replacement of this sulfur atom of the antipsychotic chloro chlorpromazine results in the you can say the change the activity, therefore it results in the from antipsychotic to the antidepressant. It means that if certain atom or the group is replaced by another one, like a methylenic two methylene group CH2 CH2 overall chain, then it will change the pharmacological action of the drug as well. Therefore, the action of the drug is changes is going to be changed from the antipsychotic to the antidepressant, like in the clomeprazine mepramine. Next is the blood-brain barrier. It means that how the drug cross the uh, blood-brain barrier and enters in the brain. The distribution of the drugs to the brains entails having to cross the blood-brain barrier, and this barrier protects the brain from both exogenic and endogenic compounds. It means that the drugs molecule shouldn't cross the blood-brain barrier. And endogenous mean the substances which are originate from the system. It means that it may be you can say tissue or the cell, or and exogenous mean the you can say substances which are outside of the system, which may be the drug molecule, and which may be certain it may be gas or the simple cations which may be introduced into the living system. It means that the endogenous and the exogenic compounds, they shouldn't cross the blood brain barrier. It means that the brain must be protected from these compounds. Here is shown the how certain drugs or the compounds crosses this barrier, like a small section of the brain in the focused ultrasound, that it's the endothelial cell, and the tight junction opens like this. Magnification shows the this tight junction open up, and therefore the molecule will which were outside of the brain, they will be scattered into the brain, and this tight junction open and therefore allow drug molecule to enter in the brain, and therefore when they will enter in the brain they will cause some effect, and this effect can be positive and negative as well. And like lipophilic drugs, the extent to which lipophilic drugs are able to cross this barrier, it varies. Like highly lipophilic drugs such as diazepam or midazolam, clobazepam are rapidly absorbed. It means that these drugs are rapidly absorbed in the uh, brain. It means that they are highly lipophilic drugs, and they have uh, less polarity, and they can easily cross the barriers or the membranes, and therefore they can cause the sedative effect. And the polar drugs are either unable to cross the triple B or only do so to a very little extent because they are polar in nature, and these membranes are non-polar. And for example, calculation using the Henderson-Hasselbalch equation show that at blood pH, um, 99.6% of the amphetamine and 98.4% of the chlorpro exist in their charged form. And it means that uh, this charged form of the drug is retained or is present in the blood, and therefore these drugs are present as uh, more in high percentage they exist in the charged form. However, these polar drugs are still sufficiently lipid soluble and to cross the triple B, and some polar drugs may cross by an active transport mechanisms as well. And other polar endogenous compounds such as amino acids, sugars, nucleosides, and small ions like sodium, lithium, calcium, potassiums are also able to cross the triple B. It means that some endogenous, these all molecules are present, or these species are present itself in a living system, but certain exogenous like the drug molecules, they are also able to cross the triple B. And here is shown the like amino acids and the monosaccharides like glucose, fructose, galactose. They are the you can say uh, they, if they are present as the endogenous compounds, they are also able to cross the triple B. It means that the polarity or the lipophilicity of the drug will decide that it will cross the blood brain barrier or the not. If it's sufficiently lipophilic, then it definitely cross the triple B, and it will definitely enters the uh, you can say brain. It's all about today's lecture, and for assignment draw 5 prodrugs which are being used and their metabolite mean active drugs, and explain the structure and lipophilicity of 5 drugs and their mode of distribution, how they are distributed in the body. Best wishes and Allah Hafiz, students.